This show is sponsored by Alicia's Pillows and Things. Check out the Facebook page, Alicia's Pillows and Things, where you will find home decor you will not be able to resist at prices anybody can afford. Check out the pillows and stools of your favorite sports teams. Maybe you want a set of your kid's favorite cartoon or movie character. You can also get full body and neck pillows as well. Log on to ngscsports.com and go to the Alicia's Pillows and Things tab on the homepage to complete your order. It makes a great gift for Christmas at an affordable price. NGSC Sports. We never stop.
You're listening to NGSC Sports Radio. Hear us live on ngscsports.com, where you can get awesome analysis for all things sport. Or check out our podcasts on iHeartRadio, Spreaker, iTunes, TuneIn, and much more. For our latest videos, head to NGSC Sports YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter at NGSC Sports and like us on Facebook. NGSC Sports. We never stop.
Oh, what did you do?
Stupid dogs. Go get on the couch, you damn dummies.
Oh my god.
Top dog Terry.
What a return.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm
Nothing like a good old Raymond Holt shirt.
So I'm confused. Is the pineapple the slut, or is the pineapple calling someone a slut? Clearly, the pineapple is the slut.
Oh, that was some top-notch Raymond Holt there.
Oh, that whole episode was great. Oh, man.
It really was. It really was.
Oh, my God. It was funny, too, and I'm sure we'll talk more about this in the Watch 4. But that was funny because we were actually rewatching the entire series leading up to the new episode.
Mm-hmm.
And I got about like 3/4 of the way through, and I was thinking, I was like, after Boyle and Gina's parents got married, we like basically didn't hear anything about them forever.
Lynn Boyle.
And
now we know why.
Boom.
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 And tonight will be the last. Tonight will be the final Foreign Affair podcast that originates from the Edgecombe County hacienda.
Oh no! This will be our third new setup, I guess.
This will be goodbye to these stupid dogs.
There you go. Hey.
We'll have new Sao Paulo dogs.
Hey, yay! New Sao Paulo dogs.
Don't bark nearly this.
That's what's really important for the Foreign Affair podcast.
New dogs.
New dogs. That's what it is. Top dogs. Some would say top dogs. Don't worry, we'll get to that later on the podcast, everybody. Hello, everyone. I am Edward Green, joined as always by McCall in Crime, Wes Bradshaw. Big pot for you guys this week. A lot of Premier League to talk about. Of course, the past weekend and the weekend coming up. We will be have a quick recap of the FA Cup replays, which took place the past couple days, including one big shocker coming out in the replay. Very brief preview of the League Cup semi-final second legs that will be taking place next week. Then, of course, we'll hit the news and notes, which might be one of the most sad news and notes we've ever had on this podcast. It is a dour bunch of stories, let me tell you what. Then we'll have the Watch 4 and So Raw, where maybe things can perk back up a little bit. But of course, as always, this podcast is presented by NGSC Sports at ngscsports.com. We never stop, as well as Alicia's Pillows and Things. If you like, hey, you know what? I have been told by a reliable source that one Los Angeles Rams are in the semifinals, as it were, of the Super Bowl tournament, the Super Bowl
And
Cup.
strangely, only one leg.
Yeah, weird.
Obviously, they're not playing here.
Yeah, no replays in the Super Bowl Cup. Thank God. So that's exciting. But hey, if you have a Rams fan or an Eagles fan who needs a consolation gift, hey, check out Alicia's Pillows and Things. She has some great team merchandise that you can go check out to give to somebody today. So check that out on Facebook, Alicia's Pillows and Things. Now,
I know it's a magnificent place to pick up a pillow for a second nap.
there you go. Oh, Eagles fans, I know you're having that sad nap if the ESPN app tells me right. 'Cause not like I watch that game or care about it at all. All right, to the actual football that matters then. Let's hit up these past week of matches that we're not really going to discuss. Starting with Southampton versus Leicester at the KP Stadium. Southampton, with their good result of the week, they get a big 2-1 victory at the KP, thanks in part to a James Ward-Prowse penalty, as well as a Shane Long extra time goal in the first half. That got Southampton going. Wilfred Ndidi brought Leicester back within one in the 58th minute, but could not pull up a second goal as Claude Puel's men go down in defeat to the Saints. A lot of unrest right now going on with the Foxes, even though Leicester, again, is still top half of the table. So we'll see what if Puel stays or goes in the coming weeks there. Watford gets a 2-1 win over Palace at Selhurst Park. It was a weekend of road victories. Craig Cathcart with an own goal in the 38th minute, but a half hour later would make amends as he gets the equalizer for the Hornets. Very, very clever goal from Tom Cleverley in the 74th minute, wins it for Watford as Woy's team slips further down in the table. Burnley beats Fulham 2-1 in a massive relegation bout. Fulham scored 3 goals in the match. Unfortunately, 2 of them were own goals. Andre Sherrill with another fantastic goal. He has been a big bright spot for Fulham this season. His goal in the second minute put Fulham ahead. But own goals 3 minutes apart from Joe Bryan and Dennis O'Doy in the 23rd minute just ended Fulham's chances to get back into the match. Cardiff and Huddersfield drew 0-0. That happened. Let's see what else we had. Everton beats Bournemouth 2-0 as the cherry slide continues. Kurt Zuma with a goal in the 61st minute. And then in the dying moments of the match, Everton struck for a second time thanks to Dominic Calvert-Lewin. And then I guess we can kind of start here, although there's not really that much to talk about. Again, Manchester City has been rebounding since their bit of winter period swoon. 3-0 victory over Wolves in what could have been maybe a tricky match at home. But Gabriel Jesus, he hits the brace. They also picked up an own goal from Wolves to win comfortably 3-0. And Wes, really, that's just kind of City keeping on rolling now that it seems like they've put those couple of losses from the holiday period behind them.
They have. It helped when City went down to 10 men pretty early in that. Or, I'm sorry, Wolves went down to 10 men pretty
very much.
in that match. When you're playing City, that kind of spells your death knell.
Yeah.
I think Wolves had come off such a big win as well that there was some natural letdown coming. And City are just not the team to have any sort of letdown against. You've got to be firing on all cylinders if you're hoping to take down Manchester City on the day. City had their little swoon, but I think that win will have kind of gotten them back to where they needed to be, kind of got them back right on the track. So, it looks like their little swoon's over, and now it's just time for City to just see if they can take care of business week in, week out.
Absolutely. Another team that needs to start taking care of business week in, week out to see if they can hold on and maybe get one of those top 4 spots that's looking less and less likely is Arsenal. They fall in a London derby at West Ham, 1-0. Declan Rice with a great goal in that one to give the Irons a 1-0 victory.
You mean Real Madrid's Declan Rice?
There you go. Hey, he'll never have to buy a drink in London again. They were already buying him drinks on the day after on Sunday. But Rice's 48th minute strike wins the match for West Ham. And West, this is, it's funny how the narrative shifts in football, as we'll get to. But, I mean, this was an Arsenal team who weeks ago we were thinking, maybe they'll fight for the top four. They're not quite there yet, but still Unai Emery has looked like he's put a new stamp on this team. They're playing with purpose. They had a big unbeaten run, and they're maybe a little ahead of schedule. Maybe still not a Champions League team this year, but it looks like things are heading in the right direction. And now, all of a sudden, it looks like the wheels are completely falling apart for Arsenal. As we just look at their past schedule here, yes, they did have a big win over Fulham, but that's coming after a loss at Liverpool that was big, a draw against Brighton and Hove, and of course, not great results in the Cup as well. So, and now we're hearing that Unai Emery could almost be on the hot seat at Arsenal because that's how things go, but definitely not a good result for Arsenal on the day.
I'm loath to hot seat Unai Emery myself. When you look at it, he is just being absolutely crushed right now with injuries, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Their midfield, and part of this is what management I think is doing as well. Is I pretty much think that they've alienated Aaron Ramsey to this point. Ramsey pretty much on the way out. All reports saying that he's agreed a deal with Juventus. The whole Mesut Ozil thing is a disaster at this point. And then he's being told that he can't buy anyone window. Hey, if you can get, but we're not going to buy you anything. For a team that all we hear is how Arsenal is one of the biggest teams in the world, and I mean, truth be told, they are. I mean, they're in the top 10, top revenue in the world, but man, they really don't like turning around and putting that back into their squad at times, it seems like. We always said that Unai Emery, it wasn't going to be one season. It might be into next season. It's going to be a full summer window again. I think that they've played well at parts this year, and due to that, people, suddenly expectations got higher. And now suddenly, they're not living up to. Well, shit. If you had told them they'd be in 5th place in January in front of Manchester United, now, of course, only on goal differential at the moment.
Yeah.
But, you were firmly in the top 6, is where you've been anyway. If you told that, I think most Arsenal fans would say, yeah, okay, we can live with that because we're not falling out of that top 6. Well, now, like we said, they went on that, 20-match unbeaten streak, 22-match unbeaten streak. And so they still find themselves 6 points out of a Champions League spot. And now it looks very much like they are the 6th place team in this 6-horse race. So, I think it's a little unfair to Unai Emery what they're doing. Or kind of what people are saying. I think it's a little unfair. But, that's the world we live in now. No, that's the Premier League, and that's the world we live in.
I agree, and I do think it's unfortunate. As of course a Spurs fan, I'm loving it, but as a neutral voice, I do think it has less to do with Emery, even though that's who's getting blamed for a lot of this right now. And I agree with you unfairly, and more about just the complete lack of ownership, which is something that we even saw like in Wenger's reign towards the end. For the many faults we had of Arsene Wenger towards the end, inflexibility with his system, what have you, the transfer system that was in place at Arsenal and the ownership group were not escaping culpability in that either. So, and that hasn't changed between Wenger and Emery. So, I think that's where maybe more of the blame should be going. And I think some Arsenal fans realize that, but others clearly, because every group has it.
Well, and as we've obviously seen from Arsenal fans, our favorite non-televised show, Arsenal Fan TV, they're not exactly the most level based on God's green earth. But to me, I don't see where you're going out as Arsenal. I don't see where you're going out and finding a manager who's better, you better results at this time. I mean, this is a very flawed team.
Mm-hmm.
You can have Jurgen Klopp over there. You can have Pep Guardiola. It's not going to make that big of a difference.
No.
I mean, it's just at this point.
I think if you threw Jurgen Klopp at that team, I think what you'd have right now is a worse version of what we saw from last year's Liverpool side. I think
so too. Yeah, it would be exciting.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, it'd be exciting, but at the same time they still shipping goals.
Yeah.
I still don't think Mesut Ozil will be playing much. And see, that's another place where he's been completely hamstrung. Is you've got this guy, you've got Mesut Ozil, who is absolutely one of the highest paid players in the Premier League, and you don't even hardly play him except at home against weak sides.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can't play him on the road. He's just Mesut Ozil. His time, I think, in the Premier League has come and gone. It's a different Premier League into. Just the evolution of the way the league is played. Mesut Ozil would be fantastic in Italy and Spain, a league like that, where it's not so much defense from you, and where it's a little bit of a slower game, and you sit back and he can just spray passes all over the world, make things happen. But I think right now, with the way Premier League teams in general want to play, there's just not much room for Mesut Ozil.
Yep.
And that's a little harsh. I mean, don't get me wrong, Mesut Ozil's a supreme talent, but it's just when you look at the top teams in the Premier League, they demand more than just being a great passer and a great setup person.
Yeah. And I think that's not to bring up Spurs just because they're the natural rivals, but I think that is where you can look at someone like a Christian Eriksen, whose value we have seen skyrocket a little bit under Pochettino, and what he can do. Not that he's the greatest defensive midfielder in the world, but he's a good defender, and he knows how to play the high press very well in Pochettino's system. And that has given him, along with his great delivery and the occasional goal scoring greatness, is what's propelled him to the heights he's at now with the possible transfers. So that's that. Let's head over to the Amex, though, where Liverpool reversed their little trend. If Man City had one, Liverpool has gone through theirs. 1-0 victory against a game Brighton and Hove Albion team. Mo Salah, with I believe his 800th penalty of the season, goes down in the second half to a challenge. Clearly a penalty, though. Gets that one up after a nice turn in the box. Draws the penalty. Converts from the spot and gives Liverpool the goal they needed to pick up the 3 points on the road. And Wes, that was a very important win for Liverpool, the way things had been trending, and especially to come out of a break where there were no matches. They were in the League Cup, they were in the FA Cup, lost there with a heavily rotated side. They weren't in the League Cup, so there had been a bit of time off from the Premier League, where they also had lost to City to end the holiday season. So not a great period for Liverpool, and not a great game still, but this, again, is one of those Liverpool wins we've seen this year where they just find a goal, and then they're resolute in the back to make the 3 points happen.
They were. It wasn't a great match. Liverpool kind of coming off a lot that they've dealt with the with the Wolves loss. Even though, once again, I don't think for Liverpool, I'm not that worried about it, but everyone else seems to be. It wasn't a great day. Both decided they were going to defend. And give them credit, they defended very well throughout the match. It was just one bad turn, and I can understand where suddenly everyone's throwing a fit. Liverpool have had 4 penalties given in the last month. Next closest teams have 1. So that said, maybe one of them was soft. I mean, that's kind of my thing.
Which one was that? I think it was Newcastle.
I believe they say the Newcastle one was a little.
I thought the Newcastle one was. I didn't even think the penalty was that soft. I thought Salah just overreacted. I thought that's what more was awkward about it. It's like, because I thought it was a foul. Like, I thought he was pulled back, if I'm remembering correctly, but he just like completely left his feet. And it was, and so he made it look a lot worse than it was, even though, like, if like it happens in the midfield, it's probably a foul, not a card, but probably just a foul. So I understand why it's a penalty. It just looked really bad.
I mean, people can be frustrated about it or whatever. This week, that foul was so blatant it wasn't funny. Yeah,
this penalty was fine.
First, he got pulled back, which was penalty 1. And then he just got kicked in the back of the leg while he's on the ball in the box. I mean, what do you expect to happen here, people? It's one of those, if it had happened to anyone else's team, they'd be to the heavens that it's a penalty, but they're just...
Exactly. When Virgil van Dijk kicks Eric Lamel in the back of the leg and we scream penalty, that's what happens.
It's a penalty.
It's a penalty. Oh, man.
Called, some don't get called.
Hey, we're almost a year away from that anniversary, so that's fun.
Well, and Liverpool went, I believe it was like, Liverpool went nearly 18 months without getting a... and now suddenly they're coming in hot now. So they're having to make up for it. But anyway, I mean, it was just another great display at the back from Liverpool. Fabinho, Jesus God, if this guy doesn't work, which it looks like he is, Jesus, he could have a job as a central defender. Did a great job. He and Van Dijk at the back just never really bothered by Brighton and Hove. At the end of the day, that's one of the old cliches. That's what a team who's looking to win a title. Those are the matches they go and get a quote routine victory out of it. B&H never really threatened in the match. Once Liverpool got their goal, it was like, all right, well, let's just ride this. And that's exactly what happened. Good win. And this season, these are the matches that are the difference from the past, from what we've seen. Obviously, season not over yet. Still a long way to go. But these are matches where Liverpool, maybe they give up a goal or they don't take their opportunity. And the biggest difference this year in Liverpool with this big title challenge suddenly is taking matches that in the past were somewhat fluky draws, and they're turning them into 3 points this year. And that's what's doing it right now. And hey, I think pretty much anyone will say it right. When you've got a chance to win the title, you take 3 points any way you can get 3 points. When you're battling for 6th and 7th, at that time, yeah, sure, let's watch some really good, entertaining football. Let's look for those 4-3s and 4-4. But I mean, if you've got real title aspirations, you keep clean sheets and you get your goals and you make them stand up.
Absolutely, and that's what Liverpool did in this match. It's a new year, and Liverpool have kept on from the rest they did in 2018. We'll have a little more Liverpool news and notes. It's not so great as most of our news and notes, but hey, we'll get to that when we get to that. Another area, talking about that battle for the top 4 from earlier, Chelsea gets an important win, 2-1 victory over Newcastle. Goals from Pedro and Willian were the difference in this match. Ciaran Clark also on the score sheet for Newcastle. And Wes, this was a team that also had been in a little bit of a struggle recently. They lose to the first leg against Tottenham in the League Cup semis. They had come off a draw against Southampton at home, which should have probably been 3 points in the bank. So to come out against this Newcastle team, which had also been very much struggling, to go into halftime 1-1 and saying we need 3 points, for them to pick those 3 points up was absolutely crucial for their top 4 aspirations.
They were, and I didn't see it in the news and notes, so I'll bring it up here. It could be about to get very interesting at Chelsea.
Yeah, it's not in the news and notes because it's not confirmed, but yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But so here's the part. Speculating rumor mill.
Go for it.
As you know, this is my second favorite time of the year.
It is.
Just behind the summer transfer window, which just lasts longer. Reports coming out of Chelsea that Morata may be on the way out the door, heading to Madrid, and coming through the door may be the Argentine hitman Gonzalo Higuain. Higuain, of course, famously has the most prolific single season in Serie A history when he scored 36 goals while playing for Napoli and Maurizio Sarri. So that is a reunion that could send some shockwaves through the Premier League. And I mean, really, that's Chelsea's biggest issue this year, is having somebody up front to put the ball in the back of the net.
Yeah.
I think it's now safe to say Morata has been an unabashed disappointment.
Sure.
He scored some goals, don't get me wrong. There comes a time where you need to score goals, you need to score important goals, and you need to score goals regularly. And Morata has not done that. Morata has cut a somewhat morose figure this season, as he has not always figured into Sarri's starting 11. Then there's Olivier Giroud, and by God, there's a rumor of Barcelona wanting Giroud.
I saw that. I'm like, from where?
I mean, for what? To be a body double for Gerard Piqué?
So weird.
I mean, do you want him just to be on the front of the magazine? Beautiful man. Gorgeous man. But, so Chelsea right now, with all the transfer, Chelsea they've made the move, and they seem to be the team that could be the busiest in this transfer window, where basically right now we're halfway through the window, half of the month ago.
Yeah, so that's going to be a big one to watch out for if Higuain does come over from Serie A to Chelsea. And I think, just to end on Morata, I think the best way to look at it is, if you're a rival club, or even just any club really, and Morata is supposed to be the number one striker for Chelsea, if he scores against your team and the thought is, I can't believe we're one of the teams he scored against, not, well, that's just what he does, he's probably been a failure. Because
it's a £60 million striker.
Yeah. Oh yeah. This was not a good signing. It looked like a good signing sort of at the time. I think we probably had reservations just because we don't usually love when strikers come over from La Liga straight to the Premier League, and sometimes because it's just such a different game that it doesn't always translate well. And that's pretty much what happened here.
Chelsea now have a very distinguished list of massive striker, somewhat underachievers now since Roman Abramovich.
Yeah.
Back to Crespo, and also at that time a massive flop, Shevchenko, and then kind of the poster boy of massive flops in Fernando Torres.
Yes.
Also known as the greatest business in Liverpool history. Where we turned Torres into we turned the carcass of Torres into Andy Carroll and a guy named Luis Suarez, who we then turned around and sold for nearly double what we sold Torres for. So anyway, but now you just add Morata to this list, and of course this is a Chelsea team who these massive flops, but then have one of the all-time great Premier League strikers in Didier Drogba. So. Man, it is feast or famine sometimes for Chelsea when it comes to strikers. And of course, then, I can see him, Diego
Costa.
Diego Costa, who was who was alternately a great and terrible striker. So it just depends on what year you look at him. So.
Hey, we didn't even mention Michy Batshuayi, who's probably, his loan is probably going to get canceled, and then Chelsea's just going to sell him.
Apparently they're looking to sell him permanently. So, well, I mean, if Chelsea do need a striker, I'm sure they've got a good dozen out on loan.
Yeah, there you go.
Sure,
Gotta fund that Pulisic move. Let's head to our final match of the week. This was our
real quick. Pulisic is just going to look wonderful playing for Arnhem.
Yeah.
Arnhem Vitesse.
Last match of the week, and our only match between two top six clubs, was Tottenham versus Manchester United at Wembley. United gets the 1-0 victory thanks to a 44th minute goal from Marcus Rashford. But Tottenham not without their chances. 11 shots on goal, I believe. I'm going to pull up the stats real quick.
Just correct.
Okay, 11 shots on goal. An expected goal value of 2. Which is a stat that measures where you shoot from, how you shoot, and tells, okay, of these shots, how many would normally go in, and the average was about 2. So, in a normal game, Tottenham probably wins this match. Unfortunately, for maybe the first time this season, David De Gea remembered he's maybe the best goalkeeper in the world. And that's really the only reason United comes out with the 1-0 victory. Multiple great chances for Tottenham. Not always the best of finishes, but so many just came down to great reactions, especially with the feet from David De Gea, keeping the ball out of his net and preserving the 1-0 victory for United. There's a great article on the Athletic, of course, because we love the Athletic. Hey, the Athletic, if you ever want to start a podcast network, we're just saying, hey, we're here. But it's a disappointing result, I'm sure, for Tottenham, especially when you look back at their first fixture of the season between these two clubs, and Tottenham won that one at United 3-0 and played, for the most part, not great football. They had some good moments to score the goals, but overall just weren't very good. In this match, they actually played really, really well and come away with nothing. And that's when you're just like, okay, I guess that's football sometimes. But obviously a huge win for United. For Tottenham, it of course, not that there was any real title talk, but it kind of pushes that down. But for United, a very important win as they're in their ascendancy to maybe capture a top 4 slot.
I think for Tottenham, what this kind of did to rest. Obviously, still have a lot to play. Mm-hmm. Securing the Champions League is crucial for Tottenham at this point of their existence. Still in the FA Cup, still in the League Cup. Obviously, with maybe a foot in the final of the League Cup already. God, just one of those days. And with David De Gea, and I'm cross-reference a lot. And I'm going to go to the one I cross-reference with probably the least. What De Gea, the equivalent of a hockey goalie standing on his head.
Absolutely.
He reminded, if you had to compare, the legendary Buffalo Sabres keeper, Dominik Hasek. Mm-hmm. I think that is a very apt comparison to this one. I mean, he was so big. Yeah. And De Gea, goalkeeper anyway. And I think for Tottenham, by about the 60th minute, he had to look like he was 7'5". Yeah. I mean, he must have looked like, a Spanish Yao Ming. It was, as I now reference another sport as well. It was a fantastic display. And, I've made the argument in the past, the best goalkeeper in the world. That's especially with what I see as the fall of Manuel Neuer over the last few seasons. De Gea obviously had a terrible summer at the World Up. Mm-hmm. and kind of had a rough start to the season for United. That said, a lot of that still comes down to the fact that he had statistically one of the worst defenses in the league in front of him.
Yeah.
That surely was not helping him at all. And also with Mourinho almost inviting pressure, it was obviously United. We can look back now. United was a toxic environment, and everyone suffered. In this match, obviously De Gea took kind of the narrative of the match. But I mean, I've got to give credit where credit's due. I'm not a fan one bit, but my God, that pass that Pogba played for Rashford to score the only goal of the match. I mean, that's what they've been waiting for from Paul Pogba. Mourinho would have shit his pants if Pogba had played that pass. And with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he's given them that freedom. Go out. The greatest thing you can do when you have top players like that, let them make mistakes. You've got to take some chances to make these great plays, and there seems to be more of a chance you're not. But you've got to give them to try it, especially when you have someone as talented as a Pogba. I mean, same when you have someone of that ilk. I mean, Christian Eriksen makes some risky passes. It's just, it goes with the territory. It's what happens. But Pogba, definitely through these 6 matches now, you can see he's freed. I mean, it's like they took off a guy, said, look, just go do what you do. Just be brilliant. And he's doing it. And it's, as someone who can't stand United, it's a little unsettling that suddenly, shit, this guy's gotten it right. Solskjaer's gotten it right. As someone said, if Mourinho had been in this match, Pogba wouldn't have played, Rashford wouldn't have played, you would have had Fellaini and Lukaku. And we know what would have happened there. That would have been a beautiful 0-0 if Mourinho. Or something fluky would have happened in Tottenham. So, the talk this week is, has Solskjaer worked himself into being a leading candidate for the United job? I don't know if he's a leading candidate. I think United still want Pochettino as their number one. He made it very vocal that I don't really give a shit what you want. You're not getting Pochettino. And if you do, you're basically going to fund us for the next years. But I don't know if Solskjaer I don't know if he's the long-term solution. But right now, it looks like he was the perfect guy to bring in because he's been such a breath of fresh air, not just letting these guys be themselves.
Absolutely.
So, credit to United.
Yeah, that is going to be a warning shot to the rest of the league, because as we look at United's schedule coming up, they still have Liverpool on February 24th at Old Trafford. They still have to go to Arsenal and City in back-to-back weeks in mid-March, and they still have Chelsea at the end of April. And of course, they're still in the FA Cup and they're still in the Champions League. And all of a sudden, and because it's been so long, I actually don't remember who they're playing in the Champions League anymore. So let me fucking
PSG.
There we go. Okay, so now all of a sudden we start to think, maybe this team actually challenge? And because we know what happens to PSG apparently in the knockout stage, it's not great. So
they pee in their SGs.
Hey, I see what you did there. So I don't know. So we'll see, but
I still United's defense is going to be their downfall.
Sure.
Because as elite, Phil Jones is still not.
Well, and the big thing is, we're praising how great De Gea's performance was, saving those 11 shots. The reason Tottenham got 11 shots is because United's back line is still really bad.
And they still weren't great in midfield by any means.
No. So, there you go. But hey, now they have a chance. So it's the Jim Carrey. So you're telling me there's a chance?
I mean, really? That's all you can ask for at this point?
That's true.
I mean, for United, at this point for Man United, if they can find a way into this season has turned into a mass success from where it was.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And they are 6 points out of a top 4 spot. I believe right now, Liverpool and Manchester City, no doubt about it, top 4. I think Tottenham is very, very strong to end themselves in the top 4. We'll see. We'll see just because of what we'll talk about coming up. For Tottenham, there may be a small waiver. We'll have to see how they get through that. Chelsea, God, once again, I think a lot's going to depend by the end of the month for Chelsea. But they're still in the driver's seat now. But for United, I mean, the way they're playing, because, okay, we've sat here and said, all right, well, they played somebody.
Yeah.
And they won. So, it might be time to start believing in United just a little bit. I'm still not ready to go all in on them just because that is, they are on that new manager boost right now. But
Sure.
they're putting themselves in a position to potentially make a run at that top 4.
Yep. And that run continues this weekend as we look at the schedule coming up. 7:30 a.m. Your weekend starts this Saturday with Wolves versus Leicester. At 10 a.m., Liverpool hosts Palace and United gets Brighton and Hove at home. Newcastle takes on Cardiff. Southampton takes on Everton. Watford takes on Burnley, and Bournemouth takes on West Ham. And at 12:30, Arsenal versus Chelsea, a battle of 4th versus 5th at the Emirates. On Sunday at 8:30, you get Huddersfield versus Man City. At 11 a.m., Fulham takes on Tottenham at Craven Cottage. And then we have a weekend off, and then we start midweek after that. It's so weird. I don't understand. But hey, that we'll get to next week. Yeah. As we look at the table, Liverpool still top with 57 points. City 4 points behind them, but again, the biggest thing is they have no matches now head-to-head to actually make up that ground. They need Liverpool to draw points to make up the ground. Tottenham right now in 3rd place at 48. Chelsea 1 back of them in 47. Arsenal and United both 6 points back at Chelsea for 4th. And the gap has significantly widened between United and the rest of that mid-table as they are 9 points up on Watford. At the bottom of your heart, the relegation zone, Southampton and Cardiff sit 1 point outside of it with 19 points. Newcastle are in 18th with 18 points. Fulham are 19th with and 5 points clear of safety. Huddersfield 8 points adrift in last place, and we'll be getting to them in the news and notes as well. Quick to the FA Cup replays. Sheffield Wednesday beats Luton Town 1-0 in Luton. Good job, Sheffield. Luton. Luton's cough drops. A bit of an upset as League One side Shrewsbury Town comes all the way back against Championship side Stoke 3-2. 2 early goals for Stoke from Ty Campbell early in the first half. Got them a 2-0 cushion, but Shrewsbury came up with 3 goals in a 10-minute stretch, just 20 minutes from time, to take over the match and advance to the 4th round. Newcastle needed extra time against Blackburn to win 4-2, but they do pick up a pair of goals in the extra period from Joselu and Ayoze Perez to advance. And finally, Fat Frank, he's done a job again. He knocked out Manchester United in the League Cup, and here he goes in penalties, knocks out Southampton in a replay from the FA Cup. Derby County advances on to the 4th round as a perfect stretch of penalties sees them through against Southampton. So those teams will be fitting in. Derby County now gets League One side Accrington Stanley, so maybe a chance for them to advance on to the next round. But Wes, another big job done from Frank Lampard in his first coaching job at Derby.
Yeah, Frank's doing a good job. They dropped a match to Leeds in the league this past week. I mean, he's top of the table right now, but Frank, they're in the, as we said, they're in the 4th round proper. runner-upper of the FA Cup. And right now, Derby's sitting at sixth spot in the championship. Mm-hmm. Important because 3 through 6 will meet the playoff for a chance to get that third spot to go. So, right now there's Leeds United actually lead the league, and then Sheffield United and Norwich are sitting at 50 points. Derby back at 43. So, all they got to do is find their way into that playoff. He's gotten big contributions this year from a pair of one from Premier League squads, Mason Mount, a Chelsea loanee. He's had a great season. Harry Wilson is having a really good season down there. And for Frank, it's coming up well for him. He's got him in a good position right now. So a lot of credit, Frank Lampard.
Absolutely, he's done a big job over there at Derby so far in the FA Cup. So that's the FA Cup.
Real quick, who did you say that?
They will be playing at Accrington Stanley in the 4th round.
Oh, what a lovely trip to make! Pesky little FA Cup anymore. With their 10 days off, actually. Liverpool are going to take a little warm weather trip to Marbella.
Hey.
Yeah, let the old muscles get out there. Englishmen with tans in February. Know where those come from, my friend.
Oh, boy.
Oh, yeah. So, Liverpool, I think, even happier right now with, again, the news about Trent Alexander-Arnold we'll talk about.
Yeah.
Liverpool even happier right now to be out.
There you go. And quick update. I did want to mention the reason that there is that weird schedule of Premier League teams not playing next weekend is because that's when this FA Cup 4th round proper will be taking place. And so all these Premier League clubs who will be still in the FA Cup get to then play midweek and then again on the weekend. So
yeah.
Hooray
for school.
The magic of the FA Cup. Anyway, also the League Cup semifinals will be taking place next week. So again, Burton, Albion, and Man City will be playing next Tuesday because they have to. Man City leads 9-0. They're going to go through. Chelsea will be hosting Tottenham. That's a little more close at 1-0 to Tottenham. And again, no away goal rules. If they're tied after 90 minutes, it goes straight to penalties. But Tottenham do take a 1-0 lead to Stamford Bridge. But as we go to the news and notes, it's not all great for Tottenham. Or apparently any club right now. So big news at the end of the Manchester United match for Tottenham was that Harry Kane left the field injured. Came off the field gingerly. It has been diagnosed as an ankle sprain. It's one that he has had in past years. And where things get weird is I've heard in the last 3 days anywhere from he's going to be gone a month to maybe a month and a half to maybe he'll start training again at the beginning of March.
That's what I've been hearing is March.
But I've heard Harry Kane said I'll be back in a month. And the last time this injury happened to him, he was back in roughly a month. So I don't know. It's very weird. Possibly if he could be back within a month, he could make a potential League Cup final on February 24th. That would probably be pushing it a little bit. So we're obviously that's still a very developing story and will continue to be over the weeks because Harry Kane has been someone who has definitely pushed himself to come back from injuries very quickly and has done that in the last couple years. Of course, in those last couple years, someone Tottenham could rely on to deputize for him as a striker was our favorite Asian, Heung-min Son. Unfortunately, because apparently this is the year when the Asians have, I don't know, a tournament every 2 months. He left right after the United match and is headed over for the another Asian tournament. To be honest, I don't even know what tournament it is because I know it's not the Asian Games.
I thought this was the Asian Cup.
It might be the Asian Cup. I was like, because I know the Asian Games were this summer. where he also played. But no, this is, yes, you're right. This is the Asian Cup. Thankfully, it ends at the beginning of February, so at least he'll be back at the end of the month. And hey, he provided an assist today, so that's cool. But Heung-min Son still away, so that's going to be kind of weird. There's been mention of playing Lorente up top. I'll just say Lorente. There's been talk about playing Deli as kind of a false nine and Nazard type up top. So this is going to be a very, very interesting period west for Tottenham as again they try to maneuver through a period which we have seen them do in the past without their talismanic striker Harry Kane, but this time they're going to have to dig a little bit deeper into their bag of tricks to come through with points.
They are, and this is what we were talking about. Tottenham, like we said, to finish top 4, qualify for the Champions League. It would take a real catastrophe for that to not happen. But I mean, this is about as close as it's getting to being really bad at the moment for Tottenham. Harry Kane, talisman. He is the captain. He is the guy who, and you can say Hugo Lloris has the armband, but we know who the real captain of Tottenham is. And this is just I don't know, man. This is going to be a tough one. It's not going to be easy for Tottenham to overcome. And the one kind of issue I have with Harry Kane, I mean, it's not really a big issue, but Harry Kane is going to be good every season for missing a month, it seems like. And he's a wonder. I mean, maybe this is what they mean. Once a season he's going to pick up a month-long injury. But it is this for Tottenham, and I think the most is still not really found anyone to take this backup for him, because I hate relying on Son to have to be the backup here, because he still does so much for you even when Harry Kane is on the field.
Sure. And
it sucks having to ask him to move over. Llorente, I think we figured out Llorente's not the guy. Could Tottenham make a move? I mean, that's obviously out there. We're in the month. Make a move. I don't know how much Tottenham wants to do that. Maybe if they could find a good loan somewhere, but
yeah, I don't know who they
seems they're going to need some firepower.
Yeah.
And let's say, luckily they've put good points on the board. They've put good points on the board, but it's kind of a tough pill at this to swallow.
And I'm just gonna cut off anybody who wants to say, well, you should have bought someone in the summer transfer market. Who are we gonna buy that's gonna fill in right now for Harry Kane?
That's the thing. I mean, that's the thing. It's tough, but Tottenham. For me, it just comes down to Tottenham have had the chance to last and have.
The big issue always comes back to who's going to come to Tottenham that's going to be good enough to be a deputy, knowing that basically this is the only time you're going to get to start, as well as like the cups.
Yeah.
Like that. I mean, that's kind of what Llorente came for.
Yeah.
And so basically you're saying, is there a better Llorente that we could have gotten? And it's like,
have you ever heard of Roberto?
Yes, I have.
Well, update me. What is the current status of Lucas Moura? Is he?
I think he's a week or two away from coming back.
Okay. Because I mean, that could turn into a big.
Sure.
Lucas Moura, obviously, was the Premier League Player of the Month back in August. I mean, this is a guy who can come in and do some things, and I think this could be a big moment that that we do have, who gives you some attacking depth. I think this could be a big moment that you're going to need him to step up.
Yeah, absolutely, and hopefully he will be back from injury, his injury, pretty soon, as well as now the best player on the pitch, soon to be Real Madrid's Musa Sissoko. He might be out for about a week or two, so get well, Musa. It's insane how he's become so good. And by so good, I mean he's okay.
He's not trash.
There you go. He's not. He's actually, I mean, I will say, for everything besides scoring goals, Musa Sissoko is actually living up mostly to what we expected when we got him. Like, he doesn't score still, but everything else he does in midfield is pretty fucking great. Right. Shockingly. I don't know how we got to this point, but here we are. So other injury news, and this one also somewhat important for Liverpool. Trent Alexander-Arnold will also be out for potentially a month with a knee injury this time. He's got it in the game against Brighton this past weekend that we mentioned. He managed to go the full game, but did have to then come off and get tested. And it looks like there's a minor ligament issue with his knees. Now, of course, you know, as I saw in every comment when I read about this story, everyone was, well, you know, if we had Nathaniel Klein still here. So that just looks weird in retrospect. But again, hindsight 2020, all that bullshit. But Wes, go ahead. Go ahead, take it.
I was just saying, I mean, it's one of those. Apparently, Klein came to Klopp, said he wanted to play every day. That time, there was no way to know. Well, just wait because Trent's about to go down.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's interesting. There, you know, there is there's a target out there apparently that Eder Milito from Porto is suddenly on the radar of both Liverpool, Everton, Man United, and has stated he wants to go to the Premier League. So that might come down to a Liverpool versus Man United kind of deal. Milito plays central defender. He's Brazilian. Plays central defender, but what that would do would be to give Liverpool a little more flexibility. Joe Gomez could come back, could always play out on the right. You know, James Milner is obviously deputized out there. So there are options, but yeah, it's very glaring that suddenly, damn it, we had the guy, we had the guy to deputize here. Fine with it. And he left like.
Harry Kane's deputy went to Asia, and Trent Alexander-Arnold's deputy went to Bournemouth.
Exactly, they both went far.
Yeah,
they both went far away from the win.
Roughly as far. So rough goings for Liverpool, but again, they do have a chance to pull something back here and see if they can get that tight defensive unit they've been forming this season to stay connected, even with some movements.
It'd be interesting to see if Maddit plays this weekend. He was made the other day for Brighton, so you got to think there's a good chance if he made the bench every day, there's a good chance he'll be back for the weekend. Gomez should be back in training in the next couple of weeks, they're saying. So, you know, if Liverpool can just hold the line, boys, hold the line. You know, it's about to get better, and also that 10, 11 days off that Liverpool are going to have at the end. Those are 10, 11 days that we don't play a match and miss Trent Alexander-Arnold. So, you know.
Yep.
God bless you, Wolves.
Yeah.
Everyone.
As we head out to another departure, this will be in a couple months' time. Petr Cech, the current Arsenal goalkeeper, former Chelsea keeper, will be retiring at the end of the season after 20 seasons in football. He will be heading out, 15 years of that in the Premier League. And he says in the note he won every single trophy possible. And that's quite impressive. Thankfully, he was able to get that Champions League with Chelsea and before he moved on to Arsenal. But obviously, we saw the very downside of his career when he moved to Arsenal from Chelsea. But when he was at Chelsea, one of the top Premier League keepers of his day, Wes.
I would say so. I mean, here with oh my gosh, who was at United? God, son plays for
Schmeichel.
freaking Leicester. Schmeichel. He's right up there with Schmeichel. Right up there with Edwin van der Sar. As best ever Premier League goalkeepers. A lot of people, especially newer to the game, they don't remember Petr Cech, Chelsea mid 2000s when he was the benchmark.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was that guy that everybody looked at as potentially the best keeper in the world. He was the head injury happened. That's why he wore.
Mm-hmm.
But guy was one of the greats, man. I was kind of following the last at Arsenal, but just forget about that. Forget about that, and just look back at his Chelsea career when he came over from Rennes in France. I mean, this guy, he was a prodigy, and he was phenomenal. And it is probably time for him to hang up the.
Mm-hmm.
But don't let these last few years at Arsenal.
Absolutely.
Absolute greatest goalies in Premier League era.
Absolutely. So as Cech will be departing from the Premier League, we also have a much quicker departure from the Premier League. Unfortunately for David Wagner over at Huddersfield Town, both he and the club have agreed to mutually part ways as this season has not gone, I'm sure, how most Huddersfield fans hoped it would. I hesitate to use the word thought because I imagine a lot of us kind of thought it could go this way. After a semi-miraculous upturn the previous season to stay up in the Premier League in their debut season, things have not gone nearly to plan this season for them to try and stay up. As I mentioned before, they are right at the bottom of the table, 8 points from safety. And again, this is a team that just lacks any sort of goal-scoring threat. So, unfortunately for David Wagner, I don't think he ever got the full deck of cards that he needed to maybe keep this team up. So hopefully he does get another position, rebounds well, because I do think he's a good coach. Obviously, bringing Huddersfield up to the Premier League, a great accomplishment. But just once they got up here, just not able to do a whole lot. So we will be bidding a happy trails to one David Wagner.
As far as David Wagner, a lot of people, man, the U.S. sure did act quick.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Wagner, of course, former United States international, so that would be a coming home. I don't think Wagner's at that point of his career yet where it's time to go the international route, even though I could, hey, once Berhalter doesn't work out.
Yeah. They have a match against Panama that they can lose in a couple weeks, so there you go.
Sure, it'll happen. We'll see what happens. But, really looking back at Wagner, the closest comparison I can give Wagner to when Jesus turned water into wine.
Yeah. Ooh.
I mean, the fact that he got Huddersfield was just, that was magnificent. This is Huddersfield we're talking about, folks. I mean, Huddersfield don't go to the Premier. Yeah, that's just. That's like saying in 2 years Sheffield Wednesday is going to be in the Premier League. Yeah. No, they're not. So getting them into the Premier League was huge, and then B, last year keeping them up for.
Yeah, that's huge.
Holy freaking crap, man! I mean, they weren't good a year ago. And there's only so much you can blame on David Wagner. The fact that he kept them up for a year, it is absolutely fantastic. The guy did a great job. I think David Wagner is going to be one of those managers who will, quote, fail up.
Yeah.
You look back at a guy who kind of gets derided a little more than he deserves. But, you look back at a guy like Brendan Rodgers, who, Brendan Rodgers in his first couple of stops wasn't magnificent, but he showed something that kind of kept getting him into a job. And then Swansea, and it clicked. And the next thing you know, the guy's managing Liverpool and now he's managing Celtic, coming to two of the biggest British clubs of all time. I could see David Wagner getting another lower end Premier League job, if not a very championship job come the summer.
Certainly.
If I'm not around and taking some crap this year and risking getting relegated. I'm not messing with that. You know, his reputation was the fact that once again he is somewhat of a disciple of Klopp. And that's, you know, Wagner plays the football that is attractive now. It's just he didn't have the players for it.
Oh, yeah.
You know? I mean, he just didn't have the personnel to really push it once he got to the Premier League. But I think David Wagner is going to have a job come this time, or well, come August of next year. Wagner's going to have a job. And I think we're going to look at it and potentially say, man, that's a better job than Huddersfield was.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, even if he's in the championship, it's going to be a team where we're like, man, they have potential to be a lot better than Huddersfield.
Oh, yeah. There's quite a few teams that could be making the jump up that would fit that mold.
So definitely David Wagner. This is goodbye for now.
Yes. Don't cry for me, Argentina.
Till we meet again. And it will be sooner rather than later.
Another departure from the Premier League. This one we kind of talked about last week a little bit. Cesc Fabregas is leaving Chelsea and will be joining Monaco. And you want to talk about a team that might need a spark plug to avoid relegation? Oh boy, Monaco. This was the darling team just a couple years ago, and they have fallen into absolute ruins in Ligue 1 right now. So we'll see if Fabregas can do something there. I don't know. I mean, obviously, Ligue 1 a easier league, I would say, than the Premier League.
It's a farmers' league.
So maybe this is enough to start bringing Monaco up the table. I don't know that it'll be, but it's probably better than nothing.
Monaco has one goal at this point of the season, and that is survive.
Oh, absolutely.
It's not about, well, we need to finish here. No. I find it interesting that he's going to play with his former teammate. Of course, Thierry Henry, who has been not great.
Yeah.
But, you know, even David Henry just talked about with Wagner, you know, there's not a lot of ingredients in the kitchen at Monaco right now. When you know, Monaco have a template where they develop and they sell. Well, that's good. That's great. That is a fantastic template. But damn it, you've got to survive those years when maybe you don't have the talent, or maybe the talent's a year or two away from coming good. You've got to find a way to survive those years. And right now, Monaco, they are 2 points, 3 points off of 17. 17th guarantees you safety in the French league. 18th, you still have to go to the relegation playoff. So they do have a little bit of ground to make up. You know, can they make up basically 4 points? And really, they have a superior goal differential. Place team. So really, you know, right now they have to make up. So, you know, Cesc Fabregas, I believe, still has something to offer in this game. And going to France, getting out of such a demanding as the Premier League, we'll see. I think Monaco could have a shot.
That's all they can ask for right now is a shot. So we'll see if Fabregas can provide them a big shot. And speaking of big shots, as we'll close out news and notes, we've had a lot of depressing stories here and a lot of leavings and whatnots. So we thought we'd end news and notes on a much happier note, as the rays of God come down and bless this podcast, because it's been too long since we've heard from God's Zlatan Ibrahimovic,
Lord and Savior himself.
Absolutely, and this coming out in the Mirror. In an interview he gave, Of course, Cristiano Ronaldo, moving from Real Madrid to Juventus this season, said earlier on in the season, quote, "I've played in England, Spain, Italy, Portugal, and for my national team, while he," referring to Lionel Messi, "is still in Spain. Maybe he needs me more. For me, life is a challenge. I like it, and I like to make people happy. He's a fantastic player and a good guy, but I don't miss anything here. This is my new life, and I'm happy." To which Ibra called bullshit. And because he is Ibra, that's what he gets to do. Saying, quote, "Cristiano is talking about new challenges. He calls it a challenge to move to a club where it is already normal to win the Serie A. Why did he not choose a club from second division a few years ago? Trying to become a champion with such a second division champion and lead them to the highest level, which is a challenge. It is bullshit. Moving to Juventus is not a challenge at all."
Ooh, shots fired.
Shots fired. Shots fired. Tanker destroyed. You've sunk my battleship. When Ibra hits, he hits hard. And the funny thing is, he's not wrong. It's not a challenge to go to the team that just wins Serie A every year. So I mean, I guess to get them to the Champions League final and win it would be impressive, but just to win Serie A, I mean,
Well, and I mean, the thing is, with the thought of this is Champions League. So Ronaldo didn't go to Serie A. I believe that was kind of case. Ibra, as much as I just adore Ibra, I mean, we're talking about Ibrahimovic here. You know, he's saying he should have gone. Zlatan, as you may remember, Juventus actually got relegated once due to a match-fixing scandal. They got relegated to the second division, and you demanded to leave. So...
Shh. It didn't happen. It didn't happen.
It happened. It most definitely happened. Just to throw a little bit of salt on this fire. You know, as much as I love Ibra. I mean, Ibra went to PSG. He didn't go to Genève.
Yeah.
And he went to Manchester United. He Watford. He didn't go to, he didn't go to West Ham. He went to United. Jesus. I mean, in all honesty, come on. The best players go to the best teams.
Yeah.
I mean, look, Ibrahimovic, he go to the United States.
Yeah.
Orlando City. I mean, the guy went to Los Angeles. So, and went to the Galaxy, which is kind of the team in the MLS. So, you know, the best players go to the best teams. They don't go to, the best players don't go to that said, stir up controversy, and I have no problem bashing Ronaldo when it's, of course, can't really say an appropriate time. Cristiano.
Well, we just love the drama.
Other than the fact that it's a David.
There you go. We love the drama. We love Ibra, and we love when he stirs the pot, even when he just leaves out a few key details. But hey, just keep saying things, Ibra. We love when you do. It's great to talk
say
about.
them, we believe them.
Damn straight. We believe the word of God. Thanks be to God. Now that we're out of the news and notes, let's hit the watch for. Wes, what have you been watching in the week that was, or the week that will be?
Oh, we've been watching, and I have been. Kick.
Mm-hmm.
I've moved back about 7 years, and now I'm seeing a big Civil War kick.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of this is I've discovered a couple. Just have had some fantastic to. Of course, I've talked about it in the past. Hard history, which really took me on a fantastic of Europe, 1914 to 19.
Mm-hmm.
And now I've been History Unplugged.
Oh.
And they have a 20 most important battles of the Civil War. It's actually inspired to take a little trip this summer. Take a trip up to some old battlefields. Just see what I can see, Ed. And it also inspired me last night at Gods in General.
Yeah.
All 4 hours and 39. This was an actual movie. I mean, this wasn't like a documentary. Robert Duvall is Robert E. Lee.
Wow.
4 hours and 39 minutes. Holy shit. It is one of the lower Rotten Tomatoes. It is not beloved. It did paint a very sympathetic picture of the South. As you know, and I am, of course, a son of. And also the music did kind of just come and stay too often in the video. But hey, overall, I enjoyed it. So that's been my little thing, civil kick. So that's all I watch. Gods and Generals. I'm gonna pop in Getty's maybe next week. Get a little free time when I get another 4-hour block of free watch a movie. Watch Getty's. But yeah, that's kind of where SEAL Team's back. I finally got around 2 of the new half of the season today, and SEAL Team's just looking really, really good in the second half of. So they're up a notch, and that's a good show. So check it out, SEAL Team, CBS, Wednesday nights.
Oh, there you go. So I of course, as we mentioned it a little bit at the beginning of the podcast, I watched the new episode of Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Nine-Nine!
Which had maybe one of the most first jaw-dropping, then I can't believe they actually did that on network TV, rewinding, saying, okay, yes, they actually did that on network TV, and then dying laughing. And I think you know where I'm going with this.
Man, it was
when Amy, not Amy. God, why can't I think of her name?
Gina.
No, no, we're talking about different things.
Which one are you thinking about?
I'm talking about on the honeymoon.
That's Amy.
Yeah, okay, so I don't know why I didn't think her name was Amy. When Amy goes, this B needs a C in her A. And Jake is like mortified. and he's like, what? And she's like, this, I forgot what the B stood for.
Bride.
Yeah, this bride needs a coconut in her arms. She's like, and she goes, what did you think I said? And of course, my mind's immediately going to, well, I know what I would have said.
Everyone thought that was what.
And the fact that, in the moment before Jake answers, I'm thinking he's just going to go, no, yeah, that's totally what I thought. Yep, yep, that's what I was going to say. I thought that's how they were going to play it off. But the fact that he actually goes, I thought you meant this bitch needs a cock in her ass. And they bleep it out, of course. They bleep out those 3 words because it's still network TV. But the fact that NBC let them get away with that shit, even bleeping it, is fucking great, and I love NBC for it. So thank you for that.
It's like coming from Fox.
Yeah.
Fox is the one who lets them do all the blue.
Yeah.
Fox gave us Married with Children.
There you go.
Still one of the 5 best and most underrated songs of all time. Which, I mean, crossed nearly every line in its day.
Yeah.
And then of course, the pineapple slut joke,
yes.
Which, I mean, once again, not quite a joke, or one you would think. I mean, they let them get away with so much. I was anxious going to that episode the other night. What's NBC going to do? I saw absolutely nothing different. I mean, everything was basically. It's like, okay, we're just putting it on a new channel, new time.
I honestly think at this point, after Parks and Rec and after The Good Place, I think once NBC brought Brooklyn Nine-Nine, they just gave Mike Schur and his crew I know Mike Schur's not involved in the day-to-day, but he's like an executive producer and creator. I think they just gave them a blank check and said, we trust you guys. You guys just keep making great shows, and we'll just keep doing it. It's fine. And I think that's what happened with that, because holy shit.
And the title series, and that's just, I was worried, I saw nothing. It was, I mean, it is the same fantastic writing that we've become accustomed to. It was fantastic, man. I was so happy that broke.
It was amazing. So great first episode. Can't wait for tomorrow's episode entitled Hitchcock and Scully, which will be really, really good. So, yay, Hitchcock and Scully. And of course, the end of the last episode with the entire whole
entire
merging.
precinct.
Yeah, just entire precinct, just right there in one room. It'll be a lot of fun. So I'm very excited with where Brooklyn Nine-Nine is going. So, yay, NBC, for not fucking this up. I didn't think you guys would. I'm glad to see you guys actually didn't do it. Good job, guys.
Now let's see if I can fire these dogs up, because it does have one of my favorite. Top Dog Terry.
Oh, that was great.
One dog's looking at me. She is saying, good girl.
Good.
Stay.
Good girl.
Don't look at me anymore. Stay.
Oh, good job.
Yeah.
So let's go from Top Dog Terry to some top dogs on the mat. Wes, what are we getting from So Raw this week?
Not a lot this week, but we have a development. The Royal Rumble coming up on the 27th of the month. So the penultimate episode of Raw. Getting into it. I actually have that on tonight. I don't believe. I don't know. I was asleep the other day when it was on, but I don't think it was on TV the other day. I don't know if they did. It didn't record here, so I'm watching Raw tonight. Braun Strowman was supposed to be facing Brock Lesnar for the Universal title. Braun had a little meltdown at the beginning, which resulted in him destroying Vince McMahon's limousine. Which, you can get away with a lot of shit, but man, you don't screw with Vince McMahon.
Nope.
And Vince McMahon took Braun Strowman out of the title match. And now he has been replaced in that match by Finn Balor.
Oh.
I mean, you could literally not get two polar opposites physically than the 6'8", 385-pound Braun Strowman and the maybe 5'9", 190-pound Finn Balor. So aesthetically, they're one from the hills of North Carolina, the other from the green grass of Ireland. So yeah,
Pretty fresh.
So fresh. A little bit around the world. Still awaiting. It's probably going to be the beginning of February before we officially find out what Mega's next move is going to be. More and more people kind of speculating he's going to sign with All Elite, which, I mean, it would make sense. You go in as pretty much the top guy, would have a lot of creative control. But, they say, and we might have said last week, I remember, but, only one place has WrestleMania. And that's Vince McMahon. That's the WWE. And no matter what else you do, you can't quite make up for WrestleMania. So we'll see. But I could totally understand the other. Also with All Elite Wrestling, just my quick commentary. I'm excited about that company. It is going to be an alternative, and I think you're going to see a lot of guys go there and use it almost as their, especially if we aren't getting shots in WWE. And of course, guys from the independent. It's all Elite Wrestling is all going to come down what channel they end up on in their TV deal. And you've got to feel if they've gone this far and Shad Khan being the money man behind this, before they've announced everything they've announced, there's got to be some sort of a big TV deal in place. Because, some people say, oh, we'll just put it on the internet. Oh, let them let them pay for it on the internet. Well, you'll get hardcore fans to do that, and you won't get it. If you want this to be a legitimate kind of option to WWE, you've got to put it on some sort of network television. It's got to be where, I in North Carolina can watch it. For my wrestling, San Jose, California can watch it. When you and Jackie go to New York, you can watch it there. You've got to be able. There's got to be one place to go to see this on television for this organization to really get a real audience. And then it's just got to be run well. But I'm really looking forward to it. It's something I'm keeping my ear to the ground for. I want to see this, man. I want to see this product, and I think I'm excited about the future. Excited where it's going to take the wrestling business, which really right now in WWE, 7-8 months now, it's a stagnant product. I mean, there's nothing to say. It's a stagnant product where the independent scene. That's where all the excitement has been. The Young Bucks, Cody Rhodes, Kenny Omega, things going on in Japan. That's where all the excitement's been. So now, if there's a chance to kind of bring that together and put it on a good TV network, man, I'm excited about it. I want to see what's going to happen. So just keeping our ears to the ground on AEW. I think we mentioned last week they have signed Chris Jericho, which, I mean, that's as huge a signing, outside of Kenny Omega. That's as big a signing they could have hoped to get someone with the background of Chris. So, that's your So Raw this week, Lewis.
There you go.
So Royal Rumble coming up in a few weeks, so we'll see what happens.
Oh, it's going to be so Rumble-licious.
And then, Ed, the road.
I can't wait. Who are we pushing for?
Who are we pushing? Let's push Seth Rollins.
There we go. We're going to push Seth Rollins. So don't worry. For weeks and weeks, we'll be pushing Seth Rollins. But that is going to do it for this week on the pod. Thanks so much for joining us this week for episode 245 of the Foreign Fair podcast. Once again, big shouts to NGSC Sports at ngscsports.com, as well as Alicia's Pillows and Things. You can find both of them on the internet, as well as us on Twitter. As a collective, we are at AFA Pod. Wes, you are?
I'm at Wes Bradshaw 21.
I am at Edward Green. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube via our parent show, the All News Sports Show. You can also email us comments and questions at allnewsportsshow@gmail.com. Also, thanks to all our podcast providers, including Podbean.com, Stitcher, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, the TuneIn Radio Network, Google Play Music, and the iTunes Music Store. So we'll be back. I guess this is just how I'm doing it now. We'll be back next week? Question mark?
I'll be calling.
Okay.
Literally and figuratively.
So no, not a joined live session next week, but we will still have some news from Wes when he calls in for Anfield Corner, and I will be probably crying about how Tottenham did not advance to the League Cup final. So that'll be fun. Can't wait to do that alone. So that'll be next week. But again, you can catch us here, and of course you can subscribe to our feed to get all our previous episodes too. But Wes, before we get out of here and finish off this pod, anything else you want to mention?
Well, yeah, this is the part I like. Well, folks, now apparently there's free. Well, it's called the transfer rule. It's being a graduate transfer. Most fun shit happens after the season's over and free agency's in full effect. Jalen Hurts, the former SEC Player of the Year, of course, the guy who led Alabama to a national championship game. I can't remember. Maybe he took him to the game. Maybe he won a national championship as a freshman. I can't remember. But former SEC Player of the Year. Of course, this year was the backup at Alabama to Tua Tagovailoa. He has announced he is a graduate transfer. Big, because that means he's immediately eligible to play. He is going to Oklahoma because all they do there is crank out the Heisman.
Yeah.
So, this will be the third straight season that Oklahoma, well, including Baker Mayfield basically being a 2-3 year starter for him. This will be their third straight starting quarterback who's been a transfer. The first two won Heisman trophies. So we'll see. Jalen Hurts kind of jewel of the transfer season. On the Miami front, of course, I'm a Miami Hurricane fan. We got Tate Martell, who was supposed to be the next big quarterback at Ohio State until Justin Fields transferred from Georgia in. So then that kind of put Tate Martell into a transfer situation, and he's going to Miami. He will have to sit out the next season, but then we'll have 4 years of eligibility. So, looks like Manny Diaz may have found a quarterback going forward. Now we found somebody to play quarterback this year. We'll have to see. Maybe Jaron Williams. Who knows? At least it won't be Malik Rozier. Thank God. But yeah, I mean the moving, shaking, the wheeling, and folks, it's the final signing day. You know there are 2 signing days now. Ed, did you realize that?
I actually didn't.
They have an early signing period now in December.
Oh,
which is nice, actually.
Okay.
Get some of that out of the way. But of course, coming up in February, the official, the normal signing day that we normally go to. So, lots to look forward to coming up, man. That's all it is. A lot to look forward to in college football, and they are making the offseason matter.
That's what's most important. So, college football, just like the NFL, can matter all year long. Hooray!
Just still better.
There you go. So that's going to do it for my call in crime, Wes Bradshaw. I'm Edward Green. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Foreign Affair Podcast. Until next time, everyone, stay safe and enjoy the football.
And good night, Arsenal fans. You knew the sooner.
Yeah. Yep. I also, to all the players on Tottenham and Liverpool, please stay safe. Like, actually.
Please.
Please actually stay
safe. God, stay safe. If you play defense for Liverpool, please just stay in your hotel room and.
Yeah, just bubble wrap them.
Shit.
Daniel Sturridge has infected 2 different teams. Oh no.
God. Virgil is something better in Liverpool roaming around to protect him. I mean, you can't let a vehicle near him. You can't let anyone with a cold near him. Nothing.
Yeah. Literally nothing.
There needs to be like a core of Liverpool fans who are serving as like a 50-yard circle perimeter.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how much I care for that man.
No, you should, and I'm sure a lot of people feel the same way.
I love you, Virgil van Dijk. I love
This show is sponsored by Alicia's Pillows and Things. Check out the Facebook page, Alicia's Pillows and Things, where you will find home decor you will not be able to resist at prices anybody can afford. Check out the pillows and stools of your favorite sports teams. Maybe you want a set of your kid's favorite cartoon or movie character. You can also get full body and neck pillows as well. Log on to ngscsports.com and go to the Alicia's Pillows and Things tab on the homepage to complete your order. It makes a great gift for Christmas at an affordable price. NGSC Sports. We never stop.
You're listening to NGSC Sports Radio. Hear us live on ngscsports.com, where you can get awesome analysis for all things sport. Or check out our podcasts on iHeartRadio, Spreaker, iTunes, TuneIn, and much more. For our latest videos, head to NGSC Sports YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter at NGSC Sports and like us on Facebook. NGSC Sports. We never stop.